1. All right, welcome back. Week 2 of our untitled, underqualified, under whatever podcast you want to call this. Again, here, us together, Jason and Finn. Finn, you can see his Twitter handle on the right-hand side of the screen at @SkeedApp. And then you can find me on Twitter at JWrangle33. But I'll be honest with you, following SkeedApp will be more beneficial to your life because he actually posts memes. He posts memes and stuff, and
that's all I do.
It's entertaining. It is highly entertaining. And before we get to the brunt of this episode, I do want to continue our meme slash. I can't really think of the word. The story, I guess, of make sure in addition to following SkeedApp, you follow Austin J. Roberts on Twitter at Austin J. Roberts.
It's not a meme. It's not a meme. If you are a person, if you identify as a human being, or I think he also accepts dogs and fish, hop into those DMs. Please.
It's a very important issue that we are really solving
Very passionate about.
Yeah.
Very passionate about this.
We need the it is our agenda, our I don't know, our independent political party, the Austin J. Roberts Party. That's what it is. And so speaking, I guess, of politics, we are severely underqualified to talk about politics. But I opened up with the electoral map. And the reason I opened up with the electoral map is because it is November 5th, 2020. The election was on November 3rd, 2020. And polls closed here in the central time zone roughly around 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. So we're 48 hours now, 48 hours removed from the election, and we still don't have a winner. We still don't have a decision. And the map that I brought up was from Sky News. They have it listed as 253 to 214, I believe it was. And I pulled up Sky News because when you look up on Google, they have it as 264. They have Arizona called for Joe Biden, but I still, looking at the deep numbers of it, I think it's too close to call and too early to call at this moment. So we aren't gonna drag this on very long because even though politics can be interesting to talk about, it's also extremely controversial in these times. So we want to try and avoid that as much as possible. But I will say this: I was watching election coverage later than I really should have. Iowa State University, I am a student of Iowa State University, and it was so lovely to have 2 homework assignments due the night before the election, a 3-hour lab during election, and then a project lab report due the night of election, and then have to be up at 7:40 in the morning the next day, the day after the election, to take an exam, and then have another exam later on in the day. So good on you, Iowa State University. Thank you for scheduling all these important exams during in important events in academics during a very important week in the U.S. right now. But so I was up until 2:30 in the morning Central Time, just waiting for results, and I didn't expect to see any reasonable, like Finn, you didn't expect any results, like any decision, did you? Like
election past 11 o'clock. Past 11 o'clock, I gave up. If I'm being honest.
I didn't. Any reasonable person wouldn't have expected an election to be called like that night or that morning, just because looking at everything, it was just really close, and also with the C19 word that I may or may not be able to say on stream, because I don't know if we will get blocked for saying that C19 word. There were a lot of mail-in ballots, and those the deadline.
This year over 100 million people did mail-in ballots as opposed to 40. I think it was 46 million in 2016.
And each state had their own rules as to when they could start counting ballots too. Some started right at election day, so 7 a.m. for most states. Some
started right when they received them.
Some started right when they received them. Some started on election day. Some didn't start until the polls closed. It just depended based on state laws. So obviously, with this thing that's been going on in the world for the past 8 months now, there were going to be a lot more of those mail-in ballots, and those are going to take time to count. So really, I didn't expect to see a winner call decided. I knew it was going to be close, and it is close. It's still close. We won't know. I really don't think we'll know until next week, and I'm not gonna dig super deeply into the nitty gritty of other things that may factor into the election. But it might be. We may not know until after Thanksgiving of this year, which is, I believe, in like 3 or 4 weeks. So I just wanted to point that out because we are located in the U.S. and the U.S. election is kind of important. So, but if we have any questions pertaining to the election or really anything, we will answer them and address them. But today, the brunt of the episode is largely going to be from Finn. Finn knows about health, and we are going to be talking about health this episode. November, as you know, as a majority of people understand, it's No Shave November. For the meme lords out there, it's No Nut November, and I really don't want to describe what No Nut November is. That's not really my place to describe about it. But we are going to be talking about health.
My place.
Finn, you know what? Go ahead, take it away. You know more about health and life sciences than I do, so I will handle that to you.
No Nut November is the greatest test of resilience, the absolute pinnacle of how much of a man you really are. It's as simple as that. Anybody can grow out a mustache, but not anybody can go 30 days without nutting.
It is the man's instinct to bust a nut during November. Actually, just any month. It really doesn't matter. But November is a test. It is a test. I've had my no shave. I guess this goatee, whatever you want to call it. I've had this since February. But the side stuff that started in November. Finn, are you participating in No Shave? I know we talked about a pre-show. You are participating in No Nut.
Correct. But I do not participate in No Shave November because I, for one, cannot grow any facial hair that's worth a damn. So I do shave during November.
Is that a requirement too for your employer? Are you required to stay clean shaven?
Nope. I just would prefer the kids not to say, you're starting to grow a mustache after a month of growing one.
It takes you that long? Takes you that long to...
It never finishes. It never... Nah. It ain't happening.
You know what never finishes? You will never finish this month either.
I will not finish this month. I will not start this month.
Not during this month, yeah. So
I don't have the self-control to start and not finish.
Fair enough. Fair point. Fair point. So we were really interested we were really interested in wondering, what November is to me, I see it as a Men's Health Month, but we found out, Finn looked this up before we went live, Men's Health Month is actually June. I have my arguments for being in November. Do you have any arguments for it being November? And should Men's Health Month be November?
Look, man, Men's Health it's very important, but at the same time, Men's Health Month is, the month where a lot of men actually get into fitness. And problem is that if we're doing it during No Nut November, there's all this pent up aggression and rage. And there's no reason for them to go slam the weights. So, what the hell's the point? June? What's in June? Father's Day?
Father's Day is just
nice weather.
Father's Day is a time where we just, mow the lawn for our dads and take them to expensive dinners and feed them unhealthy stuff. So
expensive dinner, and by expensive dinner we mean Applebee's or Chili's.
Applebee's or Chili's. You definitely can't go wrong with Chili's. They're 3 for $10. Yeah. Hey Chili's, you want to sponsor our podcast? We'd love it. We'll talk very positively about Chili's and your guys' 3 for $10 and 2 for $25 deals that you guys out. They're great. But
yeah, I'd be willing to go to Chili's for the first time if they sponsored us. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome. Please sponsor anybody. Just please sponsor us. But so, Finn, yeah, you talked about how June But go back to November. Like, what does November have in addition to no nut and no shave November?
November has Thanksgiving, which is a time where you go to see all of your family. And you know what your family says every time? Without fail. You're getting a little fat, David. So let's avoid that. I'm moving Men's Health Month in November. So that way everybody's got to be healthy during November. And then you go to visit Grandma Susan for Thanksgiving. She can't look at you and say, stomach's gotten bigger, huh?
You make a fair point, because the holiday seasons we're eating a bunch, and also because we live in the Midwest, snow is a thing. So we have that going for us. It's a little bit more difficult as compared to the summertime months where you can actually go out and go for a jog or whatever, or
mow.
Yeah, just a little jog. I'll be honest too, though. Like, yard work and stuff like that. That's very physical activity too. The only really physical activity that you would be doing in the yard, I would say, in the winter months is shoveling snow, and it's important to also very, very, please, very, very important. And I'll let you handle this because you study kinesiology. The proper way for shoveling, because backs are an issue during those times.
Oh man. The proper way to shovel snow is to make sure that you have a strong back, because you're going to be putting yourself into a compromised position regardless, and it's very unfortunate. Because you can't exactly say lift with your legs, because it's all entirely arms.
So then, before we have all the snow coming in, I don't know when it will happen. It snowed in October, but it wasn't enough, and it got warmer again. It's 75 degrees here in central Iowa. So while we have this time before it does snow, how do we prep our bodies for the winter months? How should we prep our bodies for the winter months?
The best way to prep your body for the winter months, and this is going to be extremely controversial because there is no black and white. No one thing is going to work for everybody. But what you need to do is, first you need to go get a gym membership if you don't have one. You being a student, you have one,
yes,
which is very nice. And then what you do is you go in and you start doing very basic compound lifts. A little bench press here, a little back squat there, or leg press if you can't do a full back squat without proper form. A little deadlift. You got to make sure that you deadlift, because deadlift is the most compound lift. Whereas the bench press uses a lot of the front of your body, which mostly comprises of your, I call it your shoulder girdle type area, which would include your chest, which is the main muscle for bench press, and then your abs. You also get a little bit of the, a little bit of the glutes, a little bit of the lats, a little bit of the hamstrings in there. If you're doing it properly and know how to have proper tension.
Can you briefly? I want to interrupt because I see so many people doing lats incorrectly. Like, what is the proper way to do lat? Like, how
to work out your lats?
Because if I'm thinking of the same thing, if I'm thinking what lats is like, that's the one where you pull down the bar, right? Is that the one I'm thinking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be a lat pull down. Yeah.
So then, how should you do it, or is there a wrong way to do it? I see people sometimes, they talk about that you need to go behind the back, and other times I see going front. Some people go all the way down to their lap. Some people don't go all the way down. So like, where's the I guess you could say the proper way for it.
The proper way to do a lat pull down is to not do it at all and do a pull up instead.
Really?
That's how you do it. Lat pull down is very complicated because it's all about whatever gets you the most feel through your lats, through the entirety of the motion. Because you never want to feel like you never want to feel like it's difficult to pull it. You want to feel like it's difficult to move it down. So if you're doing a wide grip, it's going to feel more difficult to move typically because you have less muscles being engaged. Whereas if you do like a close reverse grip, especially if you do a thumbless, then it's very easy to just focus on bringing the elbows down and through the lats. And then it feels much easier to move because you have more muscles being involved, but at the same time, you can do a much heavier load.
So pull-ups is the better way to go, but say for some reason you can't do pull-ups. Say you're at the gym and the pull-up bar is being occupied by a bunch of people in the group and lat machine is open.
What I would do is I would still take a wide bar. If you have the possibility for multiple attachments, I would still take a wide bar, one that looks very similar to a lot of
like
bars.
You're talking like angles or just flat.
Either or.
Either
or. And then what I would do is I would do a close grip with my thumbs on the same side as my fingers, and then just focus on bringing the elbows through. I'm not thinking about pulling it down or anything like that. Just focus on bringing my elbows through. Having the motion go through there.
So basically as far down as your elbows can go, really? Is that what you're saying?
So
like
pretty much. For some people, they're able to bring their elbows all the way back behind. And for some people, like more recently, since I've started focusing on lats a lot more, I can't actually bring my elbows through my back unless I start to flare out, which is very bad for the tendons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We don't want to work those tendons.
You always want to make sure that you're bringing it to the top of your chest.
Top of the chest.
That's it. Yeah, you can lean back if you need to, which adds a little bit of assistance. But if you're going past the top of your chest, what good is it going to do you to pull it, all the way down to your lap? At that point, you're using a lot of arm.
Mm-hmm.
If you really go through the motion yourself, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to go past the top of your chest, really.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you because you know about this stuff, you study it, and you've actually done some observation hours with actual college athletes, and so I want to make sure that we get that out there. It's like, hey, this is how you're supposed to be doing it, because there are so many. It's not just going to the gym, but there's also seeing online like misinformation as to how to do it, and a lot of people just do it behind the back. There's the behind the back thing, and I don't know if that's actually the right way to do it or not.
That's one way to do it for sure. Like
it's definitely a proper form or an acceptable form.
It's a way to do it. It focuses on bringing more of the load back onto the lats, which I personally don't like because it puts a lot more strain on your shoulder joint, and I try to avoid that as much as possible. But it's not, it's tried and true. It's there, that's for sure.
So according to you, the best way to do it is kind of like pull-up grip, or would those be
chin-up?
Yeah, chin-ups. Yeah, not pull-ups, chin-ups. I was gonna say curl-ups for some reason. I don't know why. I couldn't think. It was definitely a C word, but I couldn't remember the actual word.
Right.
So that's the best way to do it. Any other advice, or just really because it's definitely something that, I mean, not just men, but like everybody, but it's more tailored to men because we're both men. But yeah, that's the one reason. But I think it's also very important just because we've been in this pandemic for a while, and it's going to be super important to stay physically healthy and physically fit during these upcoming times, because I was just thinking about this earlier today, how I always gain weight during the holiday season, and that's because you're not as active during the winter months, and you're also eating a bunch of things. You got turkey and turkey and potatoes and cranberry sauce and rolls, dinner rolls, bread, green bean casserole, all this stuff on Thanksgiving, and then you're gonna be eating those leftovers too, so you can't forget about that. And then like Christmas comes up, you got the ham, and basically the same thing. It's basically Thanksgiving, but which is a ham. So there's a lot of eating. So anything else that you want to talk about? Because again, we're going to be focusing on health. This is your area of expertise. Like you are actually qualified to talk and speak on this.
Something that people forget is the fact that body weight exercises are very important, and that's so like underrated. Push-ups, absolute best chest exercise that you can have, unless you bench more than your own body weight. Pull-ups, undefeated. Cannot beat them for lat development. Oh, but pull-ups are easy. I can knock out 20. Add weight. Add weight, man. Go in harder.
Add weight. How would somebody add weight for you said pull-ups, right?
Mm-hmm.
How would somebody add weights? Like, would they have those? I've seen you can go out and purchase straps. I don't really remember weight belt. I guess not weight belt, but more things that there. I've seen things that attach to your legs that have like sandbags in them, and you can like remove the sandbags and stuff like that. Would that be it?
Yeah, you get a belt.
Just get a belt.
There's special belts that have like chains or something on them, and you put that on your waist and then hook a weight on somehow. Have at it, man.
Would you recommend, so for couples that go to the gym, would you recommend having your partner hold on to you?
Man, that would be so much weight.
So much weight?
That's so much weight. I'm talking people usually got 25 to 45 pounds for a while.
So at max, about a plate then.
God. Yeah, unless you can knock out 20 easy. Yeah, just go a plate. Like, work your way up slowly. But like adding a person, hot damn. Even push-ups with a person on you, those are tough. Because a push-up for me, I weigh 185 pounds. A push-up for me with, let's say, 130-pound person on me, that would be probably close to 240 pounds worth of resistance that I'm pushing.
I didn't think about it that way. I really didn't think about it that way.
It's not a perfect 1-to-1 push-up to body weight bench press, but that's about what I would estimate it to be, since I'm pushing that entire 130 pounds. So I mean,
and so we've talked about pull-ups. We talked about lats. You also mentioned, I think you said, was it back squats?
Oh yeah, dude, I love squats. Oh man, Squat-tober just ended not too long ago. Squatted every day for an entire month.
Damn, I wish I'd done a Squat-tober.
Yeah, I choose to do weights just because that's me.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by weights? Like,
so like some people just do it like body weight squats, which is fine.
Oh,
there's absolutely zero problem with that, so long as you're challenging yourself. But like if I were to do body weight squats, I'd probably do like 250 as fast as possible and time myself. So that way I'm getting some kind of a challenge in there. But I chose to, do weighted squats every day. And I'd, alternate between back squats one day, sumo squats the next day, and then front squats. And then I would go in and I would do, sumo pause, or I'd do Belgian squats, or I'd do box squats. I'd figure out something like to do every day that was kind of mixing it up so that I could consistently try and hit a PR in back squat. And I ended up going from 250 to 325 pounds on my back squat.
Wow. Back squat, is that I don't know what a back squat is, so can you explain that for me?
That's just a normal squat with the bar resting on your shoulders. Yeah. You're standing like this. You've got the weight on there, and you go down to, I can't go to parallel because I don't have the flexibility to it, but I'm going down as absolutely far as I can.
Okay.
Anybody who says that I'm not going down far enough, suck a dick. And then you got to come back up, obviously. It's, as long as you're going down as far as you can, however far down you're going is fine for me, personally. As somebody who, worries about this stuff for a side gig, who really cares how far down you're going, so long as you're challenging yourself?
Yeah, you make a really good point there, because a part of working out is really challenging yourself, not challenging other people at the gym or other whatever.
Right. If I really cared what other people were thinking of me in the gym, I wouldn't be there.
Really good point.
I'm 6'4", 185 pounds. If I turn sideways, I disappear. I was told that I can hide behind a stop sign, except that my head would be the only thing sticking out. Like, if I really cared what people thought about me, I wouldn't be there in the slightest, because that it'd be just a fat yikes.
Yeah.
Because I've got a former Division I football player coming, a quarterback, 6'6". He's like 230 pounds, coming into the gym every night. He's benching 2.5 plates. I can't compete with that. I bench a plate and a half. He's 90 pounds ahead of me, minimum. So, when you stop caring about what other people think of you and start caring about what you think of you, that's when you really start to get there. And that's why I recommend that people get personal trainers if they can afford it. If you can't afford it, don't worry about it. No, that's not that important. But if you can afford it, definitely get a personal trainer. It's somebody that's there to hold you accountable, help you understand your goals and how even reaching, you might miss your goal, but you've improved, and that's good enough that you can keep going on your goal, even if you haven't hit it in the time limit that you wanted. They take out a lot of the hard work for you. You don't have to go find a program to do now. They program it for you. They're there to help you and answer any questions you might have. It's such an incredible investment when you really think about it.
And personal trainers, will they reiterate? Well, or not reiterate? Well, will they iterate and emphasize this point that I'm about to talk about? At my gym, I don't go to any of the campus gyms just because, one, I live kind of far away from campus, and two, there's a gym right next to me that's included with my apartment lease. There's a sign whenever I'm on the treadmill, because usually my routine goes from, I do weights and then I finish off with like 25 minutes on a treadmill or whatever, however long I really decide it, and however much time I have left available in my day is depending on how long I go on the treadmill. But beyond that, when I see that there's a sign that compares two bodies, there's it's the phrase or the statement on this poster is think fat loss, not weight loss. And they show these two individuals that, one is, I think they're about the same height, but they just show percentage body fat and comparing between the two, and muscle mass between the two. So is that something a personal trainer would also emphasize for somebody?
Usually, if your goal is weight loss, then they will emphasize that so long as you're losing body fat, that you are reaching your goal. Because physiology is not very, it's not very sensitive. Physiology is incredibly adaptive. So when you look at people like, oh, I lost 6 pounds this week. No, you didn't. You lost maybe 5.5 pounds of water weight, maybe 0.5 pound of fat. So it's, you're not going to sustainably lose more than 2 pounds a week at the most. And even that's pushing it, man. Because that's a lot of fat to burn, man. That's genuinely a lot of fat to burn.
So what's your thoughts on intermediate fasting then?
Intermittent fasting.
Or intermittent,
that is such a controversial, because so many people say, oh, it works great. I've done it for 15 years. Other people are like, oh, it never worked. I would argue that intermittent fasting is more fad than anything. Not in the same way that the keto diet is, but it's not something that's going to help 99% of people, aside from the fact that if you want to lose weight on it, you'll lose weight on it. Imagine having to eat 16 hours worth of food in 8 to 6. It's a lot of food, isn't it?
I honestly
do you want to eat 2,000 calories in a meal?
I never want to eat 2,000 calories total. I just don't want to. I don't want to eat that much.
It's intermittent fasting is a way to essentially, it definitely helps you regulate what you are eating because you have much less time to do it. It's like if the keto diet was smart.
And you have to talk about the keto diet because I still feel like there are a ton of people that still believe that the keto diet is healthy. What makes the keto diet unhealthy?
The mentality behind it is what makes it unhealthy. So the keto diet itself is fine. It's a perfectly natural process that your body goes through in order to counteract what you are doing to it. Is that wrong? No, not really. You're lifting weights. You're literally tearing your muscle. Building muscle is, in fact, the exact same thing as the idea behind the keto diet. For those of you that don't know, the keto diet is where you have an extremely high amount of fats and an extremely low amount of carbohydrates. Your protein usually stays about the same, but basically you want to have like a 60-30-10 split of fats to protein to carbohydrates in the keto diet, which causes your body to think to itself, oh man, my main energy source is usually carbohydrates, but I can't do that right now because I don't have any carbohydrates. So I'm going to burn fat, my secondary energy source. Well, guess what? For the keto diet to work, you have to be on a caloric deficit. And if you're on a caloric deficit, you're not going to have enough fat in your diet for your body to burn. So what's it going to have to do? It's going to have to burn body fat. And because there are no carbs in your diet left to burn, it can't use those. And because you don't have those excess carbs like normal, your body can't convert them to body fat as a backup energy source. So it's a perfectly fine principle, especially since your body then starts to burn fat primarily. But you can't stay on it because after 6 weeks, your body enters ketosis. Well, the problem that you're going to run into is the fact that people stay on it for 2 to 3 months at a time. And then when they stop losing weight and they start putting it back on, they quit because it doesn't work.
What you just described sounds miserable. Sounds absolutely miserable. Like how would one on a keto diet just not be absolutely fatigued during it? Because if you're cutting away your main energy sources,
no, your body's you're taking away the carbs, but your body still has the fats to burn.
Okay.
Which is the point. You're going to be fatigued for probably 2 to 3 weeks, and then your body starts to kind of adapt it. It figures it out. It figures out, hey, I can do this. I'm fine. And then it enters ketosis after about 6 weeks. Granted, I'm completely underqualified to talk about nutrition when it comes down to it because I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. You know, my focus is fitness itself. I do know enough about nutrition and diets and all of that kind of thing to help with weight loss. And anybody that's not stupid or sponsored will tell you one thing when it comes to weight loss and one thing only. Just eat less food. It's literally that simple.
Can confirm I've lost. So I'm gonna bring up my personal story here. Christmas last year, Christmas 2019, I weighed in at about 200 pounds, 200 to 205. I am currently 164. And a combination of that is going to the gym, but at the same time I stopped eating as much. So, but I didn't really start going to the gym again though until, oh God, June maybe. So, but I started losing the weight, and I think it's because I stopped eating. I didn't like completely like stop, like no, just stop, but more of just I turned to a lot of fruits and nuts. So
You just have to be careful with that because nuts are very high in fats, which fats are very calorie dense. They're calories as opposed to carbs and protein, which are no, sorry, not 4. Fats are 9 calories as opposed to carbs and proteins, which are both 4 calories each
Okay.
per gram. Sorry, per gram. And nuts are obviously very high in omega-3 fatty acid. Keyword there being fatty, which means that they're very calorie dense without being very filling. And then fruits are very high in sugars. Sugars, fun fact, are very quick to be burned. So then you crash very hard. Carbs get broken down into sugars. Your body burns sugars first because it doesn't have to be broken down. It doesn't have to expend energy.
Probably explains why I was tired a lot. Though then I've always just been a tired individual. So
You also said that you were in a caloric deficit, yes?
yeah,
So you just had less energy. You literally had less energy to expend every day.
I went
It's like running your car past empty and just continuing to go, all because you're sitting in the cab just farting. That's it.
I used to eat a bunch of. I remember I used to do a weekly trip after work to Buffalo Wild Wings, and that Buffalo Wild Wings and Bud Lights every single week.
Oh man.
And
You
that I think that pushed me. I look at photos from that time. I was kind of a hefty boy there. But I'm glad to have put that off due to me also going back to the gym and actually eating healthier things. I'm not on that fruits nuts diet that I was on it anymore, but
So I would like to counteract your B-dubs did me in theory with, you said you'd go once a week, right?
at least
Oh.
it was definitely once a week. There were I think a couple times where I went I used to work Tuesday nights, and after Tuesday nights I would go to Buffalo Wild Wings and get a burger or something like that, and or I'd always get, or not always, but a lot of times I would get a salad. But obviously salads at restaurants aren't always the best thing. But yeah, so I used to, and I always had because it was happy hour from like 9 to close or something like that, and so I'd get a tall Bud Light and I'd have at least like 2 of them,
Yeah.
along with your main entree, and then I'd have if I had enough rewards points, I would get the dessert too.
Oh, dude, I wish that I could have been there for all that. Man, that sounds like the dream.
Looking back at it, like I'll be honest with you, there are days where I do like, man, I just want to go back and do that again. But at the same time, it's like, oh God, I was a mess. I was a mess doing that every single week. And also, I don't have the money to do that anymore too. So that's a nice thing. If I had not done that, I would probably on average be about $80 a month plus. So for 4 months.
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
But how was your diet otherwise?
Oh God. Let me think. I gotta think about this. So I remember when I was working, I had a free meal from because I used to work in management in the food industry or food service, and sometimes I get a fruit smoothie with it, or like as my meal. I also want to bring up during the summer months. I started having a lot of protein shakes too, and adding a lot of like every time I'd have a protein shake, I would add in the whey protein because the label said, oh, it's good for people that go to the gym. I don't know for sure, but if that, I feel like that definitely contribute to weight gain. I don't know if really, because I'm not a nutritionist. I've only taken one food and nutrition course in my life, and that was when I was in 7th grade in 2011. So 9 years ago.
So you are extremely underqualified.
Yes, very.
So if you want to actually gain weight, I'm going to give it like my experience, right? So I'm currently 14% body fat, my highest body fat percentage that I've literally ever been. I'm not sad about that by any means because I'm bulking. Like I'm trying to gain weight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to gain fat. I'm not delusional. I'm trying to gain it not as fast as I can, but relatively quick. So, I'm gonna end up with some fat being in there. But if you want to gain weight, you need to make sure that you are having a lot of carbs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of carbs. Protein, protein's gonna help for sure, but a whey protein shake's not gonna actually help you gain any weight unless you're taking 5 to 6 whey protein shakes a day.
Thank you, XC Girl, for that raid. We are actually talking about. I want to interrupt Finn just briefly because we got this raid going on for Party 4. Hello, everybody. This is our real quickly to the people that just joined. This is our untitled, underqualified podcast. Just giving the brief synopsis of what we do. We talk about various subjects that we may or may not be the most qualified to talk about. Today, though, we are talking about health and Skidap Finn. He studies kinesiology, so he is actually somebody that can talk for once on our podcast. We have somebody that is actually qualified to speak about the subject matters that we're talking about, and we are briefly just covering with the winter months coming up. It's going to be a little bit harder to focus on your own overall physical health, and so Finn has been talking about how to stay healthy physically during the winter months that are coming up, and now we are discussing on weight loss and weight gain. So briefly, I'll just go back, if we can go back to what you were talking about specifically we were just on whey protein.
So whey protein is a milk, and there's 2 types of milk proteins. There's whey and then there's casein. Casein is slower digesting and whey is fast digesting. Does that matter? No, not really. Unless you're super into fitness, it doesn't really matter, because your physiology isn't that sensitive, like genuinely. It's like the whole, I lost 6 pounds this week. No, you really didn't. You lost a bunch of water weight. So, some people like to take casein before bed so that they get that that protein digestion overnight, which doesn't exist. You don't digest when you're sleeping. Some people like to take the whey right after the gym because they think that there's an anabolic window, which there's not, because there's no such thing as a perfect time to take protein. You've got like a 36 to 72 hour window in which you'll be good. So it's like,
So tying this into your specialty, kinesiology, why do people take these protein shakes when going to the gym? Like, what's the point?
The point is usually to just add more protein, because we're always told that protein builds muscle. So that's about it. Like, it's I wouldn't say it's simple. It's more so people don't get informed of the actual benefits of protein in their diet. And most people don't get enough protein in their diet, which is where the protein shakes came from. you would see people that were in fitness that weren't getting enough, so then they would get protein shakes to add it. Arnold Schwarzenegger talks about, sitting in class in college and he's busy shaking his protein shake in a bartender's cup and he's flipping it around doing all these tricks because he wasn't getting enough protein otherwise, and he was trying to build muscle as quickly as possible. And so it's almost to the point of being misleading, thinking that we need protein shakes, but at the same time, they're not a bad thing. Don't think that you have to stop taking protein shakes just because I said that they're next to pointless.
The reason why I started doing it is just because the advertising, with our dining company, we are we spend a lot of time advertising and marketing a lot of these things. So and I wanted to try it out for myself, and because I thought it would help me build muscle, because at the time I was trying to build muscle.
Probably helped a little bit.
I believe it did. I believe it did. My ex-girlfriend said that I had a really nice butt after the summer. So, and I realized that that's when I needed to stop doing squats and all these other things that I was doing. I was told that also incline treadmill will help with glutes.
Yes.
Is that the case?
Yes, it will.
So
yes, it will.
I stopped doing those, just to start doing flat treadmill, because it did get to the point where, like, damn, I'm having a hard time fitting into these shorts or these jeans. Like, I have to really stretch it out.
Yeah, I have the same problem, except that it's because all of my jeans are like capris. They stop at my calf, and I'm like, damn it, not again.
Hey, don't hate on the capris. Don't hate them.
You know what, man? If I could pull them off, I'd go hard on them.
Pretty sure Cam Newton wears capris.
Yeah, I think he does.
Yeah.
Cam Newton's a little more fashionable than I am. So if anybody in the chat has any questions that they want to ask, go ahead, man.
Yep.
Any questions about anything, doesn't even matter.
We opened up the show briefly talking about the election. As of now, we're just going to only answer any if there are any questions about it. We will bring it up. We will address those questions. But overall, we're definitely not inclined to talk about it just because, or sorry, not inclined, qualified to talk about it just because I don't think either of us have taken a single political science class. And at the same time, in this time period, politics is a very controversial topic, unfortunately, even though in the right conditions, it's actually an extremely interesting topic. But we want to be cautious. We don't want to be controversial here. But ask away if you have any questions about election or health or just really anything. This podcast is centered about talking about anything and about really just two people just what term did you use, Finn? Was it shoot the what was it called?
Shoot the shit.
Shoot the shit. So
shoot the shit.
Really, it's a free flowing podcast that we decided to start. But I will go back to fitness here because that is our main topic. So, and then I'm gonna go full circle back to, I guess what's the best way for. You opened up the story about how going to Thanksgiving is like, oh, David, you got a lot. So how what's the best way for somebody to prevent that from happening other than just not going to Thanksgiving? That's other.
Oh man, best way to do it is check yourself, man. If you're about where you want to be. Make sure that you keep yourself there. If you're all like, man, I'm too small, I want to bulk, go for it, bulk. Go get it. If you're all like, man, I'm too big, I need to start cutting. Make sure that you keep your expectations reasonable. Start working on, if you really want to look smaller right away, go and do some core control stuff. Make sure that your diaphragm is nice and tight. A lot of vacuums. Vacuums are so underrated. You just suck in. You breathe in, and then you suck in your gut as high and tight as possible. It looks weird, but I tell you what, it does wonders for your core control.
I've never heard of that, actually. I've never even thought about it.
I think the best vacuums that I've seen would probably be Greg Doucette. he's an IFBB pro and a coach, and he's not natural, but he doesn't pretend to be. But he has some intense vacuum. Arnold has some really good ones. Man, I think Larry Wheeler's got some decent back in the day. There's a lot of really good examples of them. But it's something that kind of, it's not the fix all, but it's a quick fix.
So for you, you are I presume you go to the gym every single day, don't you? Or is it every single day, or do you take some days off? Like one day of the week off?
Currently I go every single day.
You every single day?
I enjoy it too much, yeah.
So how do you maintain your schedule? Is it just because because you enjoy it so much you're able to go to the gym, or
No,
do you have those days where you're like, man, I really don't want to go to the gym? And how do you keep your schedule? Because I think that's an issue that so many people have when they go to the gym. They have, I mean, it's easy once you. For me, and I've actually spoken to other people about they're super into fitness, but they have the same issue. Like they said, like the hardest part is just going. Would you agree with that?
I take pre-workout, and then when I get itchy, I'm like, yeah, I better head out.
So that's your secret for pre-workout?
Yeah, that's how I do it. I have this like addiction to the itchy feeling. I'll be sitting there and I'm like, yeah.
Because
it feels so good.
I definitely need to go to the gym because I haven't been to the gym in pushing 4 weeks now. Yeah, been rough. Been busier than I would have liked. But
Sure.
I guess, but there's also though, like, college students that are busier than me that are able to go to the gym, like have that or I wouldn't say have that motivation, because I have the motivation to go to the gym too. It's just prioritization, and also at the same time, I guess I'm used to going to my own. When I lived at my old apartment, we had our own personal gym, and the gym that I go to now, it's not a campus gym, but it's still one that many different apartment buildings use, and it's public for the entire city. Yeah. So, but for me, it's I like going to the gym when there's lesser people, just because I can get my routine done the way I want it,
Don't
and
have to worry about it so much.
Yeah, I don't have any like dead time of like, oh, I gotta wait for this bench to get open, or I gotta wait for lat pole to be open, or
Right.
butterfly. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but
That's the chest fly.
yeah, chest fly. So
Yeah, chest fly machine.
So I think for me, that my issue is, once it's past like 11:30. Actually, no, 11:30 is still fine. Once it's like lunchtime, in between like lunchtime and I'd say like 7, like those are my times where like I don't really like going to the gym, just because it's a little bit more crowded than I like to.
No, I feel that. I go to a smaller gym. It's called Husker Health here. It came out of a physical therapy chain called Husker Rehab, and it's really nice. I know the owner of the Beatrice and the Fairbury joints, and because it's mostly physical therapy, like that's how they make their money, is physical therapy, because physical therapy is very expensive. Very expensive. I feel like it should be expensive. Like it takes a lot of work for a physical therapist and their assistants to actually like really help somebody. But that's besides the point. I'm biased, obviously. But we, I'll go in there at 5 a.m. every morning, and there's nobody there. There's like 5 people at the most that'll show up in the mornings before I leave at 7. I'll go in there at 7 o'clock at night, and there's 5 people at most. A cardio bunny, On the treadmill, there's some mom on the elliptical reading some historical romance novel. There's an old man on the stepper machine or doing weird rows on the cable machine. Maybe somebody around-ish, our age, pushing actual weight, and then there's me doing 3 pull-ups and then can't do any more because my lats are babies. So I definitely feel that, but at the same time, I really enjoy a nice gym where you can go in and you're like, this is the kind of atmosphere where you can just feel the effort. There's a place in, I think it's Cleveland. I can't remember where, that I visited a couple years ago, called the Old School Gym, owned by one of my absolute favorite people in the world, Corey Gregory, former founder of Muscle Farm, which is a supplement company.
Yeah,
pretty big.
I've
Left it to start a new supplement company called Max Effort. Proponent of squatting every day. He hit 500 days of squatting every day, and then he, for the past 6 years, has done lunges every day for meters. And then he, the Old School Gym, it's just crowded a whole day. You just hear the effort. You can smell the effort. Most people would call it body odor, but I call it just pure, unbridled effort and sweat. So much sweat. So much sweat.
Careful now. It's November. I don't want you thinking about the sweat too hard. We need you here still for 25 more days.
My kink.
So then for you, you work in a school. I don't know. Do you work like the typical school day, like 8 to 3, 4?
My schedule is 8:30 to 4.
8:30 to 4, and you're also a student. So how do you fit that? How do you fit the gym in your schedule?
I wake up at 5. No, I wake up at 4:30. Go to the gym at 5. Yeah. That's my day.
How are you still I mean, you're sitting now, but how are you? Because if that's the case, you've been awake since 4:30, 5 o'clock. This.
Dude, the kids will walk in, they'll be like, "Mr. H, you look tired." Because I am. Why? You know what, man? I ask myself the same question.
I was doing this podcast last night. That's why.
So we got these things called pluses, and one of the girls there was, bless her soul, love this kid. She decides that she is going to make a bed out of pluses. And she's like, "You have to make you," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll make me." So I make a person that's dressed like I was, where I was wearing jeans shirt today because I get to wear jeans since I'm in a SPED program. Ha ha ha.
You had to put the watch on you too, because I can't see you without a watch.
God, dude, I put a little blue thing for my Seiko that I've been wearing, or not a Seiko. Shoot, this is a glycine. This is a glycine combat chronograph.
Looks nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. It was like $215, I think, which is pretty solid. The only problem that I have with it is it's quartz.
If you ever see Finn in person, he's always wearing.
Always have a watch.
Always has a watch.
I'm wearing a lot of my glycine. I've got an Orient Sun and Moon. I have it here with me. I have a Citizen Eco Drive chronograph that I wear when I landscape.
Yeah, wait, he's just a watch fanatic. That's just what you are.
Dude, they're fun. I bought a custom Seiko not too long ago, actually, which I'm super stoked about. It's coming from Singapore. I didn't customize it. The guy that I bought it from customized it, and he was like, "I don't want it anymore." Yo, 185. He was like, "Yeah." But so I make me, and I'm just, my little dude that I made was just chilling there, and she was all like, why don't you use your bed? I was like, you know what? I ask myself that same question every day, kiddo. Every day. I have fallen asleep on my keyboard more times than I have gotten 90% on a test in college. So that could literally be one, or it could be 100.
Well, I'd also make the argument that 90% in college are it's a lot harder to get those in high school.
I actually think that I haven't gotten a single. Don't think that I've gotten a single B on any kinesiology test over the past 4 years.
Oof. Are you sure you're qualified? I mean, you definitely have the knowledge. You do. You spend a lot of time, talking. Because even though you said you haven't had a B on an exam.
I genuinely either get C's or I get A's. There is no B, which is what I want. I just want to be like.
And I don't blame you. I'll go back to this whole like GPA exam kind of thing. An exam to me. At least there are some exams. Some exams are, but like for a lot of them, exams aren't a measure of how smart you are. To me, it's a measure more of like how well do you know this material right now, at that certain point.
There's a difference between being smart and being a good test taker.
Yeah.
I would argue that I am not smart, but I still got a 30 on my ACT 4 times in a row, in fact. I'm a great test taker. Yeah, I'm genuinely amazing at taking tests.
Your ACT was 6 points higher than my ACT, and I graduated with a 4.18 high school GPA. So. Yeah,
I graduated with a 3.0.
Yeah. So there's
and that was with me never doing homework. I turned in one homework assignment in 4 years. I'm not proud of that. It's just the number that I know.
But I mean, you know your stuff. At least you are very good at acting like you know your stuff at the very least. At the very least,
I'm great at bullshitting my way through it.
And you got to BS your way to a BS. That's the statement there.
Yeah, pretty much.
We are, we're about an hour in, because we had like that 5 minutes of just the electoral map showing in. I think we've knocked off some really good points here and really good advice from Finn. Obviously, I don't really have anything to add to his advice because I've never studied anatomy and physiology. I've never really my studies, I guess, in kinesiology is really just going to the gym and doing it myself. I mean, my mother is very, very smart with anatomy and physiology, and God, what was it? She had to take. She always talked about it because my roommate. Because you were in pre-athletic training. My roommate freshman year was in pre-athletic training also. And so she was always talking about A&P, so anatomy and physiology, and this other course that I don't remember. But she's a physical therapist assistant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she knows her body stuff. Unfortunately, I don't, just because I didn't go in the health.
Hey, man, you know what? The next time you need to know the difference between a tibia and a fibula while redoing somebody's wires in their house, you're gonna be fucked.
Yeah, this ain't gonna be good if I ever get pulled over by police and be like, "Sir, what's the difference?
Which one's the radius? Which one's the ohm?" I'm being honest, I couldn't tell you that right now. I'm pretty sure the radius is on the outside. Speaking anatomically, anatomical position is facing forward, with your arms at your side, palms facing forward. So yeah, I think that the radius is the outside bone.
You just kind of described it like my professionalism is going to be put in question here after saying this, but it honestly sounded like you were telling somebody how to, you got to get this sex position. This is how you do it. It really sounded like that. I mean, you know the body very well, so I mean, that's your field. That is your field.
Hey man, sex is my field. That's for damn sure.
I study electrical engineering, so I understand.
I'm a sex major.
Yes.
That's what it is.
HDFS 276, human sexuality here at Iowa State. I got a B in that class. Got a B plus.
There you go. Hey.
Got a B plus. It's a good thing. I had a lot of help during that semester. I had a lot of help with that class.
Hey man, it was my pleasure. I just,
All right. Well,
on that note.
Yeah, we've reached a good stopping point here for an hour. We're gonna cut it a little bit. I mean, it's not too much shorter compared to last episode, but the last episode we went right into it, whereas like this episode we have 5 minutes of downtime. We wanted to, obviously we went on longer than we really expected to. We were thinking about keeping it short just because we're both very and extremely fatigued. With how this week has gone, we're both really tired, but still, I think it's a testament to our will and strength to keep this podcast going and be as entertaining as possible, and both be entertaining and informative as possible. Again, I'll reiterate Twitter handles. Finn, I'll reiterate the only Twitter handle. Actually, the only two Twitter handles to follow. The one that you see on the right.
And Austin J. Roberts.
And Austin J. Roberts. Those are the only Twitter handles and people that you should follow on Twitter. I've just put mine there just in case you really want to drop me a follow. I really don't care about followers. So, but,
hey man, if you guys really want to see Jason's tweets, just watch because I have notifications on.
Oh no! So, oh no! Boy.
Gang.
Oh boy! That's how you like him so quickly. I was like, damn.
Yeah, I'll see the notification pop up as I'm scrolling, and I'm like,
what does he got? What random thought does he have today?
It doesn't even matter what he tweets. I like it, and I usually post a meme inside of his replies.
So I could just insult Finn and his family, and he'll still like it.
Pretty much, yeah. I'd be like, nah, dude, you ain't wrong.
All right.
So on that note, make sure to drop a follow on the Twitch channel. That way you guys know when we go live. Follow the YouTube channel. Don't remember what it's called, but I'm sure that Jason's got it linked somewhere down below.
Underqualified Podcast. I have to work on this Twitch channel. I gotta put that link in our Twitch channel, and but you can just search it up Underqualified Podcast. The first result will be like we don't have a profile picture yet, so you'll just see a purple U. You will see a purple U, and if you really don't know which one it is, I think the first video that shows up when you search up Underqualified Podcast on YouTube is going to be our first episode from last week.
Actually, I'm the only viewer, so it doesn't even matter. Down in the description below on the YouTube video that this is going to become, you will see links to our Twitch channel. Obviously, if you see this, you're on the YouTube channel, but I'll make Jason link it down below just because it's funny to say, link in the description below.
Boom.
And then if he doesn't, I will. And if you guys have any questions, hit us up on Twitter. If you want to see any topics for any episodes, just let us know. My DMs are open. Jason's DMs, I assume, are probably open. If they're not, come on, man. You're not that big. Thanks to XCGirl13 for raiding during the stream. On that note, Jason, you got anything left to say?
Hello, and goodbye.
All right. Just remember, roll clones.
And roll credits, which we still don't have the credits put up together yet, just because we've been so busy, but enjoy this picture of the electoral map again as we say good night, stay safe, Really stay safe out there. We don't know what's going to happen with these next couple of days. And also, the virus is getting big again. So please make smart decisions. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself. And have a good night, everybody.